So what we've done now is you took the graph, we took our cash flow projection, and we pulled 3 lines off it to pull a picture out of there. Out of all those numbers, we're trying to pull up a pattern, because one of our goals in this section was to talk about patterns of cash flow. And so we graph line 1, which is sales, right? We graph line 9, which is profits before tax, and we graph line 25, which is cash position. One of our other goals in this section was to illustrate the difference between profits and cash. So we've now got the picture to identify what's going on here. What I've noticed over the years, when people fill this out, they do their dots, you know, and then they connect them. There are apparently two kinds of approaches or psyches here. There is the smooth curve thinker and the connect the dots person. Now, this seems trivial, doesn't it? It turns out that if you did the smooth curve, we loan you the money, but if you connect the dots, we turn you down. You see, we had a highly technical system to figure this out. You laugh. No, I'm joking. But what we've done is, when you filled it out, it ended up looking something like that. Little hard to see the profit line, but then again, it always is. All right, so we've got sales, we've got profits, and we've got cash. Now, what I'd like to do is I want to give you a chance to think about this pattern. What's driving it? You've got your cash flow that you filled out. You've got your graph. And now I want to give you 4 questions to think about, which will be our discussion questions, when we come back to wrap up this section. Number 1, what is the relationship between sales, profits, and cash flow? In other words, what does the picture tell you? Number 2, what would happen to cash flow after May if sales continued to do what? Go up. Right now, in June, they peak out, and what happens? They fall back down. What if they kept going? That's what I really want to know. What if they kept going, okay? Question number 3. What would happen to cash flow if the accounts receivable stretched out? Like more days? We talked about that in section 2, where we got the AR down to the value, the cash impact of 1 day. Remember, it was like $8,000 or something in Cascade? What would happen here? And number 4, a critical one. How can Olympic pay back $220,000 in short-term debt? And to get at this, $220,000. Run your eyeballs down. You might mark this. That's line 29, isn't it? That's line 29. How can he repay $220,000? That's the big. It goes up to 220 and back to 0. So he paid out from May through December $220,000 of debt principal. But he only had $43,000 of profits. How did he do that? And if you can answer that, you really have a good understanding of what bankers mean when they talk about being cash flow lenders today. All right? And of course, line 43 is what? I mean, $43,000 in profits is what line? Line 9. It's line 9 all the way across in the 13th column, isn't it? Run it all the way, and that's the cumulative, $43,000. In profit for the year, how does he repay $220,000? I just want to do a little bit of a quiz here. Something else to think about. I want you to talk with your partner, with your facilitator, about these questions. And I want to make one more observation as it relates to number 2. Right now, we see sales going up, and then what do? They come back down, don't they? Is that right? What I want to know is, what would happen if they keep going? What does your gut tell you would happen to, right now we know cash goes down and then eventually comes back up. Isn't that right? Something like that? Sales keep going. What I want to know is, what will happen to cash? And I have three possibilities, and I just want to take a quick little vote. Number one, sales go up, and then they keep going up. Cash goes down, came back down, but now it's going to go up. Cash goes down and it keeps going down. That's option one, and the company blows up. Option two, sales go up and they keep going up. Cash goes down, and then it turns around eventually and catches up and comes roaring back. And option number three, I'll just put that up here. Sales go up and then they keep going up. Cash goes down, and then this seems too negative, that seems too positive. So what it does is it slowly heads back up toward the zero line at the rate of profit. Those are three options that I could see could possibly happen to answer question number two, what would happen if sales keep going? And I just want a quick show of hands here. Go with your gut. Go with your gut. How many believe that if sales keep going north, cash would keep going south until the business blows up? You again. One questionable vote. How many believe that magic would happen and it would turn around and come roaring back? One. Well, now we know who the dissenters are. I need to make a point here because we're about to take a short break. You have to vote. This is not an election. If you don't vote, we're going to treat this like Australia. If you don't vote in Australia in a national election, you know what happens? You get fined. And if you don't vote 3 times in a row, you can't. It's kind of an interesting concept. I'm going on theirs, but you're only getting, it's not the 3 strikes concept. So does that mean that the herd is here? Everybody else is voting for the easy road out? If you want to take a break, then you need to raise your hand. So everybody's there. All right. Now what I want you to do is when you come back, I want you to talk with your partners and work out answers to those questions. And when we get back together, we'll talk about patterns of cash flow and try to make some sense of this whole thing.